Welcome to the show, everyone. Cam here, and today I want you to picture a classic Friday afternoon. It's 3:30, the sun is starting to bake the tin roof of the workshop, and the yard is absolutely packed with gear that was supposed to be serviced yesterday. The boss is already standing near his ute, practically jiggling his car keys, drop-feeding hints about how he's dying for a cold schooner at the pub. So, what happens? A mechanic needs to weld a patch onto a utility vehicle's fuel tank. The proper hydraulic hoist is blocked, so he grabs a forklift, hoists the bloody vehicle up, props it with a dodgy scrap piece of structural steel, and crawls underneath with a lit torch. 10 minutes later, boom. The vehicle slips, the tank ruptures, and we have a catastrophic incident on our hands. Now, if you're a lazy investigator or a manager looking to protect your own skin, the next morning you write a nice, neat report. Under cause of incident, you scribble 2 words: operator error. Done and dusted. You blame the bloke under the vehicle, send him packing, and go back to your morning coffee. It's instant gratification. It feels like you've solved the mystery and swept the mess under the rug. But let's be completely honest here. Calling something human error is a gold medal cop-out. It is the absolute laziest phrase in the safety profession, and it keeps your organization completely blind to real, ticking systemic time bombs. When you stop the clock at "he shouldn't have done that," you completely miss why it made sense to him to do it at the time. So my challenge to you today is simple. Stop hunting for a scapegoat to blame. When someone makes a mess of it on site, don't ask who screwed up. Start asking what concrete conditions, what procedures, and what parts of your organization allowed that specific decision to look like a good idea at 3:30 p.m. on a Friday. To make sense of this, we've got to look at James Reason's classic Swiss cheese model, but let's put it in plain Aussie terms. Think of your business as a stack of cheese slices. Each slice is a barrier designed to keep people from getting hurt. Your procedures, your equipment, your training, your supervisors. Now, every slice has got a few holes in it because nothing in this world is perfect. Most of the time, the holes don't line up. A worker makes a mistake, but the equipment safety switch catches it. Or the equipment fails, but a solid procedure saves the day. But every now and then, on a dark day, the holes in those slices line up perfectly, and the hazard zips right through. That final trigger, the bloke actually pulling the trigger or turning the valve, that's what we call the active failure. But the real culprits? The real culprits are the latent conditions. These are the holes drilled into the cheese months or years ago by management decisions, poor procurement, unrealistic scheduling, and crap design. The frontline worker didn't create those holes. They just happened to be the ones standing there when the light shone straight through the stack. So, how do we handle this without turning our workplaces into a playground where nobody is responsible for anything? That's where a proper, fair and just culture framework comes into play. We have to draw a clear line in the sand between honest mistakes and actual reckless violations. An honest slip or lapse is when a highly trained, well-meaning operator simply suffers a memory blank or a momentary distraction, like driving down the wrong street because a passenger is yelling in their ear. A rule-based mistake is when they follow a plan they genuinely believe is correct, but the plan itself is flawed. These are system failures, not disciplinary issues. Now, compare that to a reckless violation. That's when someone deliberately bypasses a known critical safety control while fully understanding the risks, simply because they couldn't be bothered or wanted to show off. That's a behavioral issue. And yes, it deserves a very different response. But if you start handing out warning letters and sackings for honest, system-induced slips, mate, you are destroying your own safety culture. Imagine the side shed the Monday morning after a bloke gets fired for an honest oversight. What do you think the crew is talking about over their meat pies? They aren't saying, "Gee, I must be more vigilant." They're saying, "Keep your head down and your mouth shut." Punishing honest slips completely silences future reporting. You think you've made the site safer, but all you've done is made yourself deaf and blind to the real risks. That brings me to my favorite corporate bugbear, Those glossy, colourful slogans plastered all over the site gates. Safety first. Zero harm. We treat them like sacred cows. But let's be real. Most of the time, they're just expensive corporate wallpaper. They are completely decoupled from the messy reality of daily operations. When a supervisor is screaming down a worker's neck to meet a production target, while the procurement team bought the cheapest, dodgiest tools available, telling that worker safety first is an absolute insult. It creates what we call incompatible goals. It forces the worker to constantly trade off their own physical safety just to get the job done and keep their mortgage paid. If we want to fix this, we have to start designing a better game, rather than just yelling at the players to play better. When you write your investigation recommendations, they need to be smarter. They need to address the physical environment, the procedures, and the organisational blind spots. If your final recommendation in an incident report is retrain the worker or remind staff to be more careful, throw it in the bin. That is administrative garbage. It sits at the absolute bottom of the hierarchy of controls. We need to look higher up the chain. How do we eliminate the hazard entirely? How do we use engineering controls to physically prevent the mistake from happening in the first place? I'll leave you with one final, slightly uncomfortable question to chew on. If you sit on an executive team, are you actually brave enough to hear the real, unvarnished truth that a proper systemic investigation reveals? Or do you just want a tidy report that blames a frontline worker, lets you check a compliance box, and allows you to pretend that your under-resourced, high-pressure system of work is absolutely perfect? Think about it. That's my corner for today. Look after your mates, keep asking why, and I'll catch you all on the next episode. Cheers.